Back, everybody. First, a big congratulations to our volleyball girls on bringing home the state title. That's amazing. It was a really exciting week. We've got semifinal football this week, so our kind of crazy schedule continues, but for really good reasons. So take the time to enjoy every sandwich. Make sure you're still taking care of the things that need to get done. Stay focused on schoolwork and those other obligations, but really enjoy these moments. Not many people have this. There are not many schools that have the wacky schedule we had last week and this week because they don't have multiple teams competing at a high level and things like that. That's a credit to all of you. So really take time to enjoy it, be a part of it, embrace it, and make sure we're still taking care of the things that need to get done. So, with that in mind, family time. Talking about human needs this week. We've been discussing a lot of tactical empathy, the idea of kind of forecasting what other people are thinking and feeling. To really understand that at a deeper level, we want to recognize the human needs that we all share. It's important for us to recognize kind of where we're at, what needs we're trying to meet. And if we can do a better job empathizing with others and recognizing the needs they're trying to meet, one, we can be more productive, more useful. I say that if you're not quite sure what your next move should be or what you should be doing, just look for where there's a need and try to fill that need. So if the people around you, if you can recognize their needs, fill that need. That makes stronger relationships. That makes better friendships. And even just in our passing interactions with people, if we can recognize the needs they're trying to meet, it's a lot easier to empathize and find common ground. So we'll talk in class more in depth about kind of different types of human needs, but there's kind of two groups that I want to discuss. One is Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. If you take education classes or psychology, those sorts of things, you learn about Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. And the idea is, and we won't get too deep into them now in the video, but the idea is you have to meet the fundamental foundational needs to climb up the ladder. It's kind of drawn as like a pyramid, right? And the baseline is physiological needs. People need to meet those physiological needs first. That's the things that keep you alive. Food, water, shelter, clothing, those sorts of things. Then if you meet those needs, you can climb up the ladder to safety needs. That's the sense of, one, feeling physically safe, mentally, emotionally safe, your health. Those are things, it's a sense of security. Then it's love and belonging, where you feel like you have a sense of connection to others. Then esteem. Esteem is building like that self-respect, individual strength, character, that sort of thing. And then the very tippy top is self-actualization. And self-actualization is kind of that ongoing pursuit that we can never fully attain self-actualization, but that's the pursuit. That's where I want all of you to be, is we want to make sure we're meeting all those other needs. And then it can be a pursuit of, who are you? What are you about? What do you really believe in? Who is the person you want to become? That's our goal. That's where we want to get to. But we have to recognize that if the other needs aren't being met underneath, we can't even work toward that. That's important for educators to understand. If we have people in our classes who aren't having their physiological needs met, who don't have food, shelter, clothing at home, we're never going to move them up the ladder. We're not going to get those young people to be concerned about self-actualization types of things because there's a greater immediate need that needs to be met. And I always think of that like if someone was sick in one of our classes, like if you had the flu, we wouldn't be like, hey, you need to, hammer down and do all this, schoolwork, whatever, right now while you're sick. We would say, hey, go to the doctor, get some medicine, do whatever it is you have to do to get to get well so that we can work on these other things. Well, it's kind of the same thing with these human needs. If we're in this constant state of trying to fulfill physiological or safety needs, then we really can't work up the ladder to love and belonging and esteem and self-actualization. So we'll break that down more in class, but that's an important thing to understand. The other framework that I like for thinking about human needs is actually Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is a pretty famous motivational speaker. He's been around for a long time. But he talks about kind of this, his human needs sort of exist in a balance, which I think is good too. He says that, all people have the need for certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. I like those two. Where certainty, you need a number of things in your life. You need some things in your life to be things you can count on. And that ties in with like the physiological and safety needs, right? You need to be able to depend on those things. You need that level of security. But if your whole life becomes this sort of mundane routine, everything is always the same, that gets boring. So you do need a little uncertainty as well. I like that balance. You need some change, you need growth, you need some unknown, a little adventure. Then there's significance, and then connection and love. And those tie in very closely with Maslow's love and belonging and esteem. Like, significance is kind of like esteem. Like, you need to have a sense that you feel important, that you're of value, that you matter. And you need to have some sort of connection, some sense of love, some closeness to other people. Then also what I like about Tony Robbins' needs is kind of the last two he talks about, growth and contribution. Like the first four are kind of, all about you internally, individually, the sort of intrinsic things. And then growth and contribution are like putting that out into the world. And I do think that's an important need in human life, is that like we need to be continually growing and adapting and learning. And that has a lot to do with interactions with the outside world. And then a sense of contribution. And that kind of being the last piece I like is that I really don't think we can be fully happy and fulfilled unless we're giving ourselves to something bigger, unless we're contributing something. So we'll break those down more specifically in class, but I want you to just consider, one, what human needs you have, where do you fit into those things, what human needs are you trying to meet? But I want you to just consider that as you're interacting with other people. Like, what needs might this person be trying to meet by their behavior? And if we can do that, we can have much more meaningful interactions. If you realize that, maybe someone is displaying a behavior that maybe you even find, annoying or trying or something like that. But if you can reframe it as like, oh, this person is clearly trying to fulfill the need of love and belonging. Like they're trying to fit in. They're trying to find their place. Then we can be a lot more understanding and forgiving, and give people a little more grace, give ourselves a little more grace if we recognize like, this is the need that I'm trying to meet by doing this. Because if we can't meet our needs in a healthy and productive way, we will find a way to at least try to meet our needs in an unhealthy way. And that's really, really important to understand. And if we're trying to help other people, we have to find a way to get those unhealthy behaviors, how to meet the same needs in a healthy, productive way. All right, until next time, much love.